Looking for a tough, versatile sling for EDC or travel? Well, in this video, I'm taking a look at the TEKKO Sling from Vanquest. I've got both sizes here, the 4-liter and the 6-liter. Let's see if this is the right sling for you. Let's start with the size difference because we've got two different size slings here, and we've got the TEKKO 4, which, as you can guess, is rated at 4 liters of capacity, and then we've got the TEKKO 6, which 5.9 liters is what the rated capacity of the TEKKO 6 is. So close enough to 6 liters. They're both relatively compact, although spacious, right? So the 4-liter is going to be a little bit more geared towards lighter everyday carry, and the TEKKO 6 is obviously going to be a little bit more spacious, perfect for those that need to carry more gear or extra gear or maybe longer trips. They're both, to be honest with you, fairly large for everyday carry slings. I think these lend themselves more to travel, to be honest with you. Although I will say, and we'll get into this a little bit more, their slim profile and design does make them very carryable. Carryable, I guess. I don't know if that's a word or not, but we're going with it. So moving on to materials, this is where it gets pretty exciting for me because the list of materials used for these slings is impressive. So this is the black color. There's gray color and multicam as well. The black uses their 400D Urban Blend poly nylon fabric, which is it has a multi-PU PC coating on both sides. The multicam version has it's made with US Cordura nylon 6.6, and I've never experienced this exterior before, but I do have to say it feels fantastic. It looks fantastic. It just seems extremely durable. It's got a little bit of a, if I had to liken it to something, it almost feels like Ultra or something to me. And it's just got a very durable feel to it, a great look to it, matte finish. Overall, very impressed with the exterior materials on here, as well as the rest of the materials throughout these slings. So the inside, and we'll show that closer up later, is a 210D ripstop with DWR coating. It's very high vis and it's lightweight. The leather accents, so we've got accents on the strap, accents on the front. I didn't really think much of these accents, but when I look at the specs, I realized they didn't stop at the external fabrics. This is premium Horween Chrome Excel leather for the accents on both of these slings. So very cool. We have what they call tough mesh on the interior. We'll take a look at that. The zippers are all YKK. The external are reverse coil coated YKK weather resistant zippers. All the hardware is ITW or Duraflex, which is military grade hardware. The webbing and all the tape is a high tensile strength nylon webbing. All of this webbing, you can see it has a seatbelt like look to it and feel. We have just excellent stitching throughout this bag with quite a bit of bar tacking and box and X stitching. Look at that bar tacking on that strap. I don't know if you can get a good close-up view of that. Is that coming up? That's not going anywhere. That strap is on there. Let's look at the bar tacking by the handle too. Can you see this? It just looks bulletproof in construction. I have no doubt that this sling, both of these slings, are going to last quite a long time. We've got more webbing on the bottom with great stitching. So let's talk specs now. And we've already talked about capacity for both of these. Empty weight for the 6-liter is 1.15 pounds or 520 grams. Dry weight for the TEKKO 4 is 0.99 pounds or 450 grams, so just under a pound. Overall dimensions, so for the TEKKO 6, we're looking at 8.5 inches high by 13 inches wide by 3.5 inches deep. So the 4 is a little bit smaller at 7.5 inches high, 12 inches wide, and 3.75 inches deep. So it adds a 1/4 inch of depth, but we're taking off an inch of height and an inch of width. Front zipper compartment on both of these. The TEKKO 6 is 7.5 high by 10 inches wide, and the TEKKO 4 is 6.25 inches high by 9.5 inches wide at its shallowest, or I guess its narrowest, or 10.5 inches at its widest. And I would say that we've got a little bit of that going on here too. So it's a little bit wider up here, narrower down towards the bottom. For the main compartment, we're looking at 8 inches high by 10 inches wide by 3.5 inches deep for the 6. And we're looking at 6.75 inches high so 6¾ inches high by 9.5 to 11 inches in width, depending on where you measure, by 3.25 inches deep. So the tablet pocket, and there's a tablet pocket on the interior of both of these, 7.5 inches high by 10 inches wide on the 6, and 6.5 high by 8 inches wide on the 4. All right, moving on to exterior features. The design concept here is low profile. So we have a very low profile design. You can see it does fatten up a little bit. This will fold in if you don't have it stuffed out. We've got the same in terms of design for both of these. The only real difference is the capacity. So they both have a front quick access pocket covered with a YKK coated zipper. We've got a loop field across the top of both so you can put patches on there. We've got quite a bit of webbing throughout. So we've got some nylon webbing on the side. We've got some lash points on the bottom. We've got more on the other side, and then a nice nylon webbing grab handle. And we've also got the main zip, which goes across the top. Also, again, YKK coated zippers, Spartan zipper pulls on all the zippers. We've got a double zipper setup for that main compartment. On the back, we've got a little bit of a lip, and then we've got a hidden pocket. So lastly, on both of these, we have the strap, and I wanted to focus on the strap a little bit because if I'm being honest, it's a great strap for a sling. Like the hardware, the feel of it, the size of it. We've got this really cool Duraflex hardware on there, which makes this strap easily pivot. So this pivots easily to conform to your body when you're wearing it, but it's also easily removable. So pushing this center in and you can slide that out. And that makes this strap very easy to remove. This also tucks neatly into here, so you got plenty of room back there for this to tuck into. And if you want to tuck it in there, completely hide it, you can totally remove these, basically transforming this into a tech kit, right? Or a handheld carry pouch. I've been over this in other reviews. If you're going to be a good travel sling, in my opinion, you have to have a removable strap. And Vanquest checks that box nicely. One of the better implementations. I mean, this hardware is really cool. It feels very durable. I have no fear that this is going to come apart. Offers great mobility, very cool setup. Love that about the strap. We've also got a quick adjust grab handle on there, or pull, and this came in really handy. So I used this quite a bit. It kind of reminds me of the Peak Design everyday slings and their adjustment system, and it works just fantastic. If you want to loosen it up, drop it down to get something out of there, make it easier to access, you can do it very quickly, and then yank it back tight on your body if you want to hug it close, or you're going to be moving a little bit quicker, don't want something bouncing around. So overall, just an awesome setup. You can see this material. I mean, this looks like seatbelt material, feels like seatbelt material, so you know it's going to be very durable, and that strap's going to last. Very comfortable to wear. I will say this slick material has good and bad, right? So good in that if you are, for me, I was wearing this with a sweater. It was a cooler day, which is nice because it slid really nicely over the sweater with no friction, no bunching up my sweater. Bad if you kind of want it to stay in place because it, again, lacks that friction, but it's a trade-off really. And this one, the way this adjustable strap works with the quick pull, it really lends itself to having a nice slick strap. So I think Vanquest put some thought into that, and I think they made some good design choices overall with that strap setup. I think this Duraflex hardware on the strap, in addition to making it removable, also offers some other versatile options. So if you want to hang a water bottle, for instance, I mean, you can quickly disconnect, throw a water bottle through there, and bam, you're carrying. I mean, nothing to stand in your way. You don't have to stop and try to stuff it somewhere or fit it in. You can just loop it around there. No problem. All right, before I get into the interior, I'm going to throw both these on, show you how they carry. For reference purposes, I'm about 5'11", 225 pounds. I'm wearing the sling in a low and loose configuration right here. I've got the strap a little bit slackened up so it sits lower on the body. You also obviously have the option of cinching that quick adjust mechanism and pulling it up tighter to your body, whether you want to wear it front style or rear style. I prefer to wear it on the back if I'm not carrying a backpack. It fits to the body extremely well, partly because of the low profile design, but also because you have the pivot points on the strap, as well as that frame sheet in the back, helping it to maintain rigidity. Overall, great setup. The sling carries great, and it's a joy to use. All right, let's open these up and take a look at the inside. We'll start with the TEKKO 4. We'll start with this front pocket, and I've got a couple things in here. So I've got my phone in this front pocket, and then I've got these two Velcro straps. Otherwise, that's it. There's nothing in here. There's no organization in this pocket. We've got the ripstop nylon mentioned in the beginning on both sides, very high vis. You've got its own capacity in here, so you can put some gear in, and you can fit some larger stuff in here because this pocket goes both directions from the zipper. Plenty of space in there for keys, AirPods. This is an iPhone 15 Pro Max. It fits in there no problem. And then I like to keep a couple of these straps on hand because these are very cool to use with this lashing. If I need to lash something to the bottom, I can easily do that. So let's say a Gorilla Grip tripod, for instance. So very convenient to keep a couple of lashing straps on hand, and you can lash anything you need to the outside, whether it's a tripod, an umbrella, maybe you pick something up along the way and need somewhere to carry it. I really like the flexibility that provides, so I tend to keep a couple on hand. Moving on to the main compartment, we've got a double zip on here, and you can see that is a lockable zipper. So it is lockable if you want to lock that closed. But we pull these open and we've got a pretty spacious and well-organized interior. So I've got some camera gear in here. This is how I had it loaded out for a trip I was on to Minneapolis recently. And it fits plenty of stuff in there with some good organization. What's nice is the Insta360 selfie stick fits in there, no problem. I've got my DJI mic 2 and some of that elastic loop material. I've got my little Rovivon flashlight in there, very bright for its size. The Insta360 camera itself, this is the X3. Then I've got the Pocket 3 in there. This does not fit vertically in this pocket with the extended battery on it, but I do have the extended battery next to it, so I usually snap those together when I'm ready to film. And then I like to have the tripod, so this is the Pocket 3 little tripod that comes with it. And that's all I have in here right now, but let's take a moment to look at the organization in here, right? So we've got a couple big drop pockets in the front, and then in front of that, they have some elastic webbing on there. Great for keeping things organized. We've got a big drop pocket behind that. So this is the nylon 210D material. And then behind that, we've got a big loop field. So the vast majority of the inside of this is loop field. And we've got loop on the front of the pockets. We've got loop on the back. The entire back is a loop field. So if you have CCW accessories that are hook and loop compatible, you can use that. The front pockets are loop fields too. Pretty cool setup in that respect. We've got some loops for hanging items. So this comes with a little key leash, and you've got 4 loops on the inside. Well, yep, 4. So there's basically a loop in each corner if you want to hang it from any one of those, or you want to hang something else. You've got those hooks in there that make it very utilitarian. You can see on the bottom, that's pretty wide, so we can fit some stuff in there. And then on this front face, we have one big tough mesh pocket, and that tough mesh looks pretty cool, and it definitely feels tough. I feel like that's going to stand the test of time. You open that up, you got loop field on the inside of that too, so the whole inside, that yellow or marigold color, is all loop field. And then this is a great place to put smaller odds and ends or things that you don't necessarily want falling to the bottom of the sling. Overall, very useful setup on the inside of this sling. Offers a great amount of organization. One thing to note too, that behind this, there is a sheet of plastic in there, which provides some rigidity. It's going to help this sling keep its shape, not going to fold up, but that also means it's not going to be very foldable or packable if you want to squish it, but it's so flat when you're not using it that it does pack very nicely. That's it for the main pocket. The last pocket to show would be this rear pocket. What I have in there is my wallet. We've got kind of the same setup, no organization, but we've got the 210D ripstop material on the bottom there, and then the back side is all loop field. So again, if you had any hook and loop compatible accessories you want to throw in there. You've got all kinds of options throughout the interior of the sling to do that. It is important to note too that this pocket, like the other one, does go up underneath, and then you've got this protective flap over the zipper. What I can say too is when I was using this in travel mode, I was tucking these into here. So tuck that in, pull the sling off, pull the strap off both sides. You fold this around, that tucks in nicely, completely hidden out of the way. And then if you adjust this, pull out, I would double it over once or twice, trying to offset the hardware a little bit to keep it slimmer. But that'll fit very nicely in this front pocket and take up very little space. So you barely know it's in there. Very flat still, not loaded out, but now you've got a very nice, basically, tech organizer. So great for packing in your bag this way. You don't have the strap dangling and catching things in your way if you don't need it. When you're at your destination, if you need a carry sling, your tech case, your carry kit converts to a sling. Very cool setup. Really like that about these. All right, let's move on to the larger TEKKO 6. And the interior is going to be the same. There are a few minor differences that I want to point out. So this front pocket, I don't have anything in this, but this version has some organization built in. So that's very cool. You've got a couple elastic webbing strips, kind of like pals built into that. So very cool if you want to throw a flashlight or something quick access in there. You've got that little bit of organization built in. Meanwhile, no loop field on the interior of that front pocket. It's all the 210D ripstop. So that is a very big pocket though. I mean, you can get quite a bit of stuff in there. The main pocket on this sling is, again, very similar, but there is at least one key difference that I want to point out. So what I've got in here is I've got my AirPods hanging from one of the loops. That's very convenient. I've got a Leatherman arc tool kind of held in place with that loop. I've got my very bright E30 Angel Eyes Rovivon flashlight. Then I also have, and this fits in the pockets, this is a Garage Built Gear Mud Ear pouch, fully loaded out, fits right inside that pocket. Very cool, because if you want to do modular carry, and I like to do that, I like to keep things in the same organizer so I can grab and go. The Mud Ear pouch from Garage Built Gear fits right into that pocket. Perfect setup. And then I've just got some carry stuff set up in here that I had on a recent camping trip with me. Then on the other side, I have a SD card holder, but you can see now on the inside, it's very similar to the other side. We've got these two big drop-in pockets. We've got elastic webbing across them. We've got a big dump pocket behind, backed with hook and loop, or I'm sorry, backed with a loop field. I can tell you that an 11-inch iPad Pro will fit in this back pocket just barely, but it does, and I can get it zipped. Then same thing with this, you've got a frame sheet behind it, adding some rigidity. Here's where the difference comes in, and if you haven't noticed already, you have loop fields on both sides with this one. So you got a nice wide opening here, you got loop field down here, you've got loop field all across the front. So if you wanted to use camera dividers or the Velcro based, the hook and loop type dividers, this will accept them. So you can divide the interior of this into compartments. If you want to do camera carry, if you want to do a lens and maybe a narrow body, this sling would work out perfect for that. And then much like the other one, we've got this tough mesh pocket behind for odds and ends, also backed with a loop field. So very similar in that regard to the other one. So a little bit more versatility, in my opinion, built into this one, because you can use it with camera dividers, and you can use the dividers to break up this very wide space in there if you needed to. So very cool setup. Lastly, we'll take a quick peek at the hidden pocket on this one, and it's the same really as the other one. You've got the 210D nylon on one side and then loop field across the back with this cool, it's almost like a checkered pattern, the way it's sewn in there. So that looks pretty durable. It does look like it's going to come apart easily. And that's really it. Otherwise, these two slings are pretty much identical, and size being the main differentiator. But again, a little bit different organization options in the larger one. All right, let's talk likes and dislikes now. And there's a lot to like about these slings, so I'm going to start there. First and foremost, I have to mention, top of my list is just build quality and materials. So Vanquest claims to build tough gear. I would say this feels very tough and does not disappoint. All right, number two is the low profile design. I love how the volume of these is spread out across a very low profile design. So if you did want to use this as a tech kit, it's gonna be nice and packable because it maintains a pretty flat profile. And I actually like that about it. So it hugs your body closely. It fits up against you nicely. It's got that frame sheet in the back to kind of keep it rigid. I think it's a joy to carry and use because of that low profile design. All right, number three is the interior organization and design with the loop fields in the pockets. So I think it's really cool. You've got the loop fields in there. Gives you a lot of options in terms of hook and loop capable accessories. You can use the dividers and the bigger ones from your camera kit, or it's something you purchase from Vanquest. I really like the organization inside. It's smart, it's functional, and overall excellent design choices. Number four, and I have to mention this, it's not something I always mention in a sling, but this sling definitely warrants it. This is by far one of the better straps I've used on a sling. I don't know if I showed this either, but you've got that little the Horween leather accent on the strap too, which is pretty cool. You got the Vanquest V on there. So love the strap, love the fact that it's removable. I mean, this thing is built rock solid. This strap will probably outlast me. I mean, I think, cockroaches and this strap might be all that's left after a nuclear holocaust. But I really like the design. I like the Duraflex hardware that pivots. Just a fantastic strap. This is extremely useful. I mean, I love having the quick adjust on there. Really like everything about the strap setup on this, which is just critical for a sling. All right, the last like I'm gonna mention is number five, just the overall versatility. The fact that you can remove the strap and turn it into a tech kit, the lashing points. If you wanted to use this, for instance, with the alpaca hub system and add the alpaca hub pouch to it, no problem. I mean, you've got lots of places to add gear, to hang things. If you want to put a hero clip on there, you can hang it here so that you have a place to hold it. I mean, you've got the good grab handle. Overall, very versatile setup and design. Really love that about both these slings. It made them that much more useful for me. All right, let's move on to dislikes. And my first dislike isn't even really going to be about the slings themselves. And I don't know what this is. Maybe it's constructive criticism, but the online marketing, the photos on the website just don't do these slings justice. I think these slings are so much nicer than the online marketing materials. I apologize, Vanquest, but I was pleasantly surprised when these arrived to see actually like how nice they are in person. Actually kind of knocked my socks off. So number two, and this is a very minor gripe, but something that I did find a little bit annoying. If you look very closely, and I'll show some close-up footage of this, the way these Spartan zipper pulls attach is they go through the pull and then loop back around themselves, so they're offset. And that does make the zippers a little bit less smooth to operate, and sometimes they want to hang up. So, you're not pulling it from the front evenly, and you're kind of pulling it from the side a little bit. And if you can see, it opens smoothly, but it doesn't close as smoothly. So to be fair, I want it to open a lot faster and a lot quicker because, I mean, we might be talking about a self-defense situation, something along those lines where I need to access the contents quickly. So the direction is right. I would just like to see maybe a different attachment method, maybe a different setup on that. I don't know how you would do it necessarily to make it a little bit smoother to close. On the other hand, though, what's nice is these are relatively easily removable the way they put them on there. So if you did want to remove them, you want to customize, put your own zipper pulls on there, these aren't permanently attached and you can pull them off very easily. So that's kind of cool. And I could see potentially changing some of these. Like, I don't know if I need a Spartan zipper pull for that front pocket, for instance. Maybe I move to something a little bit more low profile. Pretty cool setup though. So as is for now, I'll leave it the way it is. All right, number three. And again, this isn't a deal breaker. just a minor nitpick that I've mentioned on probably potentially every other sling I reviewed, because this seems to be a pretty common theme. So we've got this hidden pocket in the back, which is great. Sits up against your body, but then you've got this lip that's used to cover the zipper, and that always makes me nervous. If water were to go down in that direction, it could potentially get hung up in there and then seep through that zipper. And then on top of that, that zipper is not coated. So I think, you know, with it tied up against your body, the odds of that actually happening are very slim. However, it always gives me pause. And every sling manufacturer seems to do it that way. So use case scenario wise, and we'll touch on that for a minute. You know, these make great everyday carry slings. I think where they really shine for me and where they would find their way into my carry setup would be as travel slings. I mean, these excel as travel slings with the removable straps, the fact that they are a little bit bigger, in my opinion, than a typical EDC sling volume-wise, but it's worked out perfect with me on travel, maybe as part of a minimal 1.5 bag setup, or, you know, as just your grab-and-go tech kit that you can pack, but then also have a sling when you get to your destination. Overall, very impressed with the Vanquest TEKKO Slings. What do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop me a comment below. Do you have one? Do you want one? Have you heard of Vanquest? Love to hear your thoughts, comments. As always, if you found this review useful, please hit the thumbs up for me down below and definitely consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks.